How you doing, YouTube? Brandon Arborego here. Today I want to make a video about the subject of the flat earth, how I became a flat earther. It started with this video. That's how I went down this rabbit hole. This is supposed to be a rabbit hole. And came across a video called "They Are Hiding God" with The Greatest Lie Ever on Dr. James's channel, and it's got Mark Sargent's Flat Earth Clues stuff in it, and this is the one that got me thinking about it. Got me questioning some stuff about the globe. And in it was I think it was in here, the curvature stuff. But anyway, this is the video that got me started on it. And this is the subject that really got me to believe that the Earth is not actually a globe. This was the one thing, the curvature of the Earth. Now, if the Earth is a globe, it has to curve, and NASA, being NASA and knowing everything about the Earth, knows how big it is, and knowing how big it is, you can measure the curve and how far it drops off after a certain distance. It's called the Earth curvature calculation formula, which is 8 inches times the mile squared. That means for the first mile something is away from you, it should drop 8 inches below the curve. 2 miles is 32 inches, and so on and so forth. Down to 53 miles, it is a 1,667 foot curvature drop. Now, I've got this one in here because there's a photo by a gentleman by the name of Joshua Nowicki that took a photo of the Chicago skyline across Lake Michigan, and he was 53 miles across the other side. And I've got the height of the Willis or Sears Tower, formerly Sears Tower, at 1,450 feet high. So that means that you shouldn't be able to see this tower, because this number is lower than this number. You shouldn't be able to see any of it. But the strange part about it is, in that photo you can see the entire Chicago skyline. All of the buildings. And obviously all of the Willis Tower. Now, the Globers will try and say that, oh, just so happens that is a mirage that brought that back over 1,167 feet of globe, perfectly on the horizon and perfectly right side up. This YouTube video, Rob Skiba, the name of it is "Rob Skiba Proves the Chicago Skyline is Seen from the Other Side," is not a mirage. This one, he completely debunks that mirage theory, because he gets in a boat and he goes across Lake Michigan to a similar distance, and lo and behold, you can see the whole skyline all the way up to it, all the way back, proving it's not a mirage. As if this didn't sound ridiculous enough for you, that a mirage is going to be brought over 1,000 feet of curve, perfectly upright. There's also a world photo record, Proves Flat Earth, by Rob Skiba, and that has a photo of something a lot more than 53 miles. It's like 200 and some miles, which you can see an entire mountain range, or I forgot what it was, a mountain or an island. But you can see the whole thing, and that should be under miles of curvature. No, we're not talking feet, we're talking miles. So those two things, though, that stuff right here is what got me really seriously doubting the globe. It's the curvature. Because this should be easily measured. I mean, it's 2018 now, and NASA has all the answers. So we should easily be able to prove this. If the Earth is a globe, we should prove it easily by this. Alright, there are numerous, countless other examples. Lighthouses can be seen 40 miles plus by ships. That's what they're there for, to guide ships in at long distances. Impossible on a globe. Islands seen from hundreds of miles away. Landmarks, the Chicago, the Willis Tower, the Statue of Liberty, all kinds of stuff. You can just, there's all kinds of examples of things that are seen at distances in which they're not supposed to be seen at. So the conclusion to that is, when there's no curve, there is no ball, because balls have to curve. So obviously, flat earthers don't know everything about the size, the shape of the Earth, but there's one thing we know: it's not a ball. And there's no curve measured out to these distances. That sounds flat to me. Alright, there's more stuff on the curve. Another thing about the curve that globe believers will throw at you is, oh, I've seen a ship disappear behind the curve. But they do not disappear behind the curve, but go out of sight due to perspective. Atmosphere and miraging also play a role. What that means is something disappears into the distance. That's just eyesight. That's perspective. That's how it works. You can watch something on a flat piece of land that you know is flat, a car drive out of sight, and it will disappear, just like the ship will. How can we prove this? Well, when that ship disappears over the curve, supposedly over the curve, bring up a pair of binoculars, a telescope. It can be brought into frame back over the ball with magnification. The whole thing can be brought back up. Now, is it your binoculars magically bringing that ship back over the curve? Or did it just go out of your eyesight and your perspective? Okay, now, and also another thing about those ships disappearing behind the curve, they do not match the curvature calculation either. They're disappearing 3 to 4 miles out, when at 3 to 4 miles you can calculate that on the Earth curvature calculation, and it's not going to be the whole entire height of that boat that's missing anyways. So it does not even match the curvature calculation, much like the curve of the Earth doesn't match it. But there's another thing that you don't think about with curvature and with boats. And it's one thing that I didn't think about either until I started looking into this. But once you start looking into this, you give it about 5 minutes and just think about stuff logically. Just think about it. Your boat is disappearing at 3 to 4 miles on this y-axis. But what about this? The x-axis left and right. Those are each going to be 3 to 4 miles. And where are the ships coming up, disappearing this way and this way? You don't see that, because it doesn't happen, because it's not a ball. But there's some of the things that you got to think about. If it was a ball, they'd be disappearing in this direction, this direction. It's going to curve this way on the y-axis. It's going to curve this way and this way on the x-axis. Just some of the things that you don't think about because you've been taught your whole life that it's a globe. And you just take it for granted. And you just think that all of these things have been thought about for you. But once you start thinking yourself, looking at it yourself, and they don't make sense. So our conclusion is boats prove no curve. Because your boats on the curve that have been given to you as proof by the globe believers, they actually prove no curve once you look into them. So just look into that. So, and I recommend this video here. It's the one that got me started into looking into it, so maybe it'll get you into it. It's in this rabbit hole here. That's where I first got into it. It's actually Mark Sargent's clues. His work is in this video. You can also, I encourage you to look at his stuff. The Morgile, Globebusters, ODD, Reality, Jeranism, does good work. So there's a lot of all kinds of flat earth stuff out there. Now, I mean, this is nothing new. I just wanted to share my thoughts, and I did get into it with this video back when there wasn't a lot of flat earth material. It was just a couple guys. Eric Dubé also had some good stuff, and he's one of the first ones to come out with this stuff. Bring it back. So just think about it for 5 minutes. Before you call flat earthers stupid, just know they've done their research. They know more about the globe model, the heliocentric model, than about 99% of globe believers who are actually calling them stupid. So before you call somebody stupid, look into it. Thank you. Bye.